You don't need to worry about what's going on in the world's oceans because we have much more pressing issues to deal with. Like, did you know that a supervolcano might blow up soon? That's right. The Earth has not finished with us yet, and according to some scientists, it's planning to erupt soon. What's even more alarming is that this time the eruption will occur in Europe and destroy everything around it. So, today let's find out if this prophecy will come true or not. Let's find out which sleeping giant of Europe will wake up first. Will it really erupt, and who will be the first to get affected by it? Yellowstone National Park in the United States is home to the Yellowstone supervolcano. It's the most famous supervolcano in the world, but it's not the only one. There are 3 active supervolcanoes on our planet, but there are many more dormant ones that could erupt at any moment. The Yellowstone supervolcano is the largest of them all. It's big enough to bury the entire United States under 200 feet of ash if it erupts. But Yellowstone isn't the only supervolcano in North America. The Long Valley Caldera in California and the Valles Caldera near New Mexico are 2 more supervolcanoes to watch out for. But these are not the only supervolcanoes on the continent. According to some scientists, there are 123 supervolcanoes in the United States alone, which means that an eruption could level entire states. But that won't happen anytime soon. They're currently dormant and will remain so for thousands of years. However, it looks like we won't be able to say the same about the European supervolcanoes soon. Europe is indeed home to a few supervolcanoes, including some of the largest in the world. But they've all been silent for millions of years and none of them pose a threat to Europe right now. Or do they? Scientists from Cambridge University recently conducted new research on European volcanoes. Their findings were alarming. One of the dormant volcanoes in the region may be showing signs of awakening after remaining quiet for 50,000 years. They discovered that earthquakes and increased volcanic activity have occurred near the uninhabited island of El Hierro in the Canary Islands, suggesting that magma may be rising beneath the surface once again. But this is not the only disturbing news we have gotten about the volcano lately. In September of 2011, scientists recorded hundreds of small earthquakes in the area. However, they didn't pay much attention to it since such tremors had been recorded before and nothing had happened. But then in October the situation suddenly got worse. The number of earthquakes suddenly increased from hundreds to thousands per day. This was far more than normal and very worrisome. This raised concerns that the island could experience a volcanic eruption similar to the one that destroyed the neighboring island of La Palma 170,000 years ago. In response to the unusual activity, the Spanish authorities created an emergency plan in case the volcano erupted again. They wanted to be prepared just in case something bad happened. But their worst fears were not realized. Over the next few months, seismic activity gradually decreased until it returned to normal levels. However, this calm did not last long. In March of 2022, scientists recorded another increase in seismic activity on the island. Moreover, residents of the island felt tremors as well. Some people even thought that the end of the world was coming. However, the eruption still didn't occur. And even though it might not erupt anytime soon, scientists are still keeping a close eye on it. They want to make sure that everything is all right. And when we say everything, we mean the entire Europe. Because if the volcano does erupt, it won't just affect Spain or the Canary Islands, it will affect the whole of Europe. But how exactly will this affect the rest of Europe? You'll be surprised to know that the impact of the eruption of the volcano will be similar to that of the 1815 eruption of Mount Tambora. That eruption is considered the most violent eruption in recorded history. The explosion was so powerful that it lowered the global average temperature by 3 degrees Fahrenheit and caused widespread crop failures and famine in the years that followed. According to researchers, the eruption column of the volcano could reach a height of 22 miles. Ash and pumice would be thrown into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and cooling the planet. If this happens, crops will fail, and food shortages will occur. But that's not all. The eruption could also cause major disruptions to air travel and other aspects of daily life. We have seen how a volcanic eruption can have a devastating impact on the entire world. When Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines in 1991, it sent shockwaves around the globe. The eruption was so powerful that it caused global temperatures to plummet by 1 degree Fahrenheit, leading to crop failures and other problems. However, some experts believe that the impact of the eruption will be much more severe. According to Professor Tim John from Durham University, if the volcano were to erupt today, it would cause total havoc in Europe. He explained that unlike previous eruptions, modern society would not be able to cope with the effects of the eruption. Unlike our ancestors, we are too dependent on modern conveniences such as air conditioning and refrigeration, which would be impossible to maintain without electricity. Furthermore, we would face a global food shortage since the eruption would contaminate water supplies and destroy crops. Professor Tim believes that the disruption to the global climate system caused by the eruption could lead to social breakdown within weeks. This is because even the smallest disruption to the supply of food and fuel can have cascading effects on our way of life. For example, if farmers can't plant crops due to contaminated soil, they won't have anything to harvest. This means there won't be enough food to feed the population, leading to starvation and hunger. Similarly, if the water supply is contaminated, people will become sick and some may even die. This will put a strain on hospitals and other emergency services which are already stretched thin. On top of all this, air travel would be impossible during and after the eruption. People would be unable to travel to work and businesses would be forced to close. All of this would have a devastating impact on the economy. So even if you aren't living in the immediate vicinity of the volcano, you will still be affected by its eruption. And to add to the misery, the eruption will be highly unpredictable. Even though scientists will try their best to predict when the eruption will occur, they may not be able to do so. This is because volcanoes are highly unpredictable and often erupt when we least expect them to. In fact, sometimes they even catch scientists off guard. This means that people will have little time to prepare for the eruption, making it all the more chaotic. Even though the eruption will affect everyone, some will be hit harder than others. The areas closest to the volcano will suffer the most. Cities like Santa Cruz de Tenerife, Las Palmas and Cadiz will be completely destroyed. In fact, the entire population of the Canary Islands will have to be evacuated. But this is just the beginning. The eruption will also affect other parts of Spain as well as the neighboring countries of Portugal, Morocco and Western Sahara. The ash cloud will likely spread to France, the UK, Germany, Belgium and the Netherlands, causing widespread chaos and destruction. But the damage won't stop there. The entire infrastructure of Europe will be affected by the eruption. Transportation systems such as trains and planes will be unable to operate. This will make it difficult for people to evacuate from the affected areas and also prevent emergency services from reaching those in need. The eruption will also have a devastating impact on the environment. The ash cloud will contaminate the water supply and destroy crops, leading to food shortages and waterborne diseases. The air quality will also deteriorate significantly, making it difficult to breathe. This will lead to respiratory problems and other health issues. Now the question arises, what can we do to minimize the damage caused by the eruption? Well, the answer is not much. There is no way to prevent a volcanic eruption once it starts. Our best chance of survival lies in being prepared beforehand. We need to start planning now for the possibility of an eruption so that we can minimize the damage. This includes developing evacuation plans, stockpiling food and other supplies, and educating people about what to do in case of an eruption. By taking these steps, we can ensure that we are better prepared to survive the eruption and recover more quickly afterwards. The truth is that we cannot predict with certainty when the volcano will erupt. However, by taking these precautions, we can reduce the impact of the eruption on our lives and ensure that we are ready for whatever comes our way. What do you think about the recent studies regarding the volcano? Do you think that they're just a hoax, or is there a real possibility of an eruption? Share your thoughts below. And as always, thanks for watching.